Hello once again. Cathar Love 104. The unique essence of Gnostic Catharism. Everyone seems to be chasing the happiness, the bluebird of happiness, as someone described it. And there's been countless books, songs, dissertations on the subject. But someone asked William Blake, the English mystic, Gnostic mystic, could he describe happiness? And he said yes. And he said in one word. Oh, one word. He said yes. He said gratitude. It's as good a description as one will ever get. And thinking about it, it's somewhat difficult to be unhappy when you're thankful for something, when you're offering gratitude for something. So he wasn't far off the mark. But from a Gnostic point of view, we can't, in this earthly plane, we can't truly be happy because of the philosophical belief that our divine spark, which a spark of the source of God, of source of the Creator, given to each thing upon creation, is then separated from the source, and there can never be total happiness until the divine spark, which is our essence, our innermost core, quite apart from the soul, is reunited ultimately, which it will be, with the source. So it's actually a happy ending for everybody. But with us, of course, there's all those intervening lifetimes one has to deal with. Reincarnation. And this is basic Gnosticism. This is the source, which defined by Socrates and Plato and Plotinus. And even with science agrees there has to be an origin of everything. The greatest ocean or river started from one drop somewhere. So there needs to be an origin of all things, and to the Gnostic, to the Cathar, we term that the source. You can have other terminology. A rose is a rose by any other name. But when I notice that people who write upon the subject, Patricia Ritchie, Dolores Cannon, people who go into deep hypnosis and are taken back to a previous lifetime, they never referred to God as God or the Creator as God, because they say it tends to personalize the Creator, and they invariably refer to it as the source. So I'm not going to argue with that. It's the source to me. So there's this separation, and so therefore true happiness, ultimate, which is basically denied to us until we ultimately are reunited with the source. Having said that, here we earthlings on our planet Earth, in this mortal plane, we certainly can develop an inner joy and inner bliss. And I'm sure there's many ways, but certainly practicing the Cathar philosophy is certainly one way. Let me explain. The source, as far as the Gnostic, and especially Cathars, is the source of unconditional love and healing. Now the point is this unconditional love. Unconditional love means that there are no conditions. However, with the major religions of the world, and I include Buddhism, we have this judgment. And upon judgment, with the Buddhists it's temporary, but you can go to hell. One aspect of one group of Buddhists have this belief, but certainly with Muslims, Jews and Christians, if you're a good person you go here, and if you're a bad person you go there, and that's for eternity. Well, even that, to a Gnostic, to a Cathar, there's no such thing as a good person or a bad person. We are simply a person with the capacity for goodness, to do goodness, and the capacity to do nastiness, evil. So we don't go around judging people, because we both have this capacity, and at various times in our life, certainly from my own point of view, I've done lots of goodness, I hope, but I've also I've done a few nasties as well. Okay, and I've come to grips and have to deal with those things that I've been involved with, and so I have managed to gain a certain amount of inner tranquility and inner peace of mind. So this unconditional love, it means that one has a son or a daughter or a child. One's love for that child there's no conditions, it's unconditional. Even if that person does some terrible things, the worst, your love, you may expect that person to be punished and so forth, but your love is not diminished. You have this unconditional love for your child. Unfortunately, you may have unconditional love for your child or friends or whoever you have unconditional love for, but unfortunately the deity of the great face, referred to as God, these people believe that his love is conditional upon how you live your life, how you live that one lifetime. And this is bothersome as well, because for most people, for that one lifetime, it's pretty miserable. I mean, they say about 2/3 of the world doesn't have enough food each day, and some people live absolutely miserable lives, and this is your one lifetime. Well, again, Gnostic Catharism, or Gnosticism, Catharism, doesn't have that problem, because we are hopefully perfecting our lives lifetime after lifetime, and we will do that until we get to a certain level, or a certain towards our higher consciousness, to the degree that we no longer need to reincarnate either on this planet or some other terrestrial planet. So also there's no particular hurry, because we also have the belief that we are given the gift of immortality for eternity. So this is a rather lengthy picture, or a lengthy journey that we've had bestowed upon us. But within that journey, the only judgment that we have is our judgment of ourselves, of how we are fulfilling our promise of that journey, or our purpose in life for that journey. We don't have the day of judgment. We don't have anyone there to, when we die, to suddenly judge us. Each soul knows what is best, if there is to be judgment, what is best for that soul, and what that soul should do in the next lifetime to possibly make up some karmic differences or karmic situations, make amends for this, or whatever. But it is the soul who is looking at the soul and working out what type of what they should do from a karmic point of view. And that karma is not there as punishment. that karma is there so you will understand. So if you have hurt somebody, you may experience the same hurt, but not to punish you for that, for hurting somebody. It's so you'll understand what it feels like when you do that to that person. So you may take note and not make the same mistake twice or 3 times. So from a Gnostic and especially a Cathar point of view, we have a deity, the source, the creator, whose love for us is unconditional. There are no strings attached. If one has created a being or an entity, who would know more about that entity than the creator? And the creator created us in such a way that we have this capacity for doing good or doing wrong. So there is this aspect of being non-judgmental. Very difficult, because most of us pronounce judgment one way or another upon most things that happen to us in our life. So these are the unique essences to Gnosticism, and especially to Gnostic Catharism, because there are many philosophical belief systems within Gnosticism. You can be a Jewish Gnostic, you can be a Christian Gnostic, you can be just a Gnostic with no religious with no religion whatsoever. Socrates was a Gnostic, and he certainly wasn't a Christian. And there's, of course, Christian Gnosticism, and most of the writings we read about are Christian Gnostic writings, and for what one Christian Gnostic says as his or her belief, there's another Christian Gnostic who also a Gnostic and is the opposite to that, has the opposite belief. So it's a very complex and muddy list of writings. So Catharism is merely, I shouldn't say merely, is an aspect, some might say, the culmination of Gnostic philosophic thought. And it separates itself from other Gnostics in that it is not religious, it is philosophical, it's a way of living, one's life, it's an attitude to one's life, and is all based on the unconditional and non-judgmental love of the source. We can, if we try to emulate that, and within our lives, and certainly as we get older and mature and have more life experience and understanding, we too try and imitate that unconditional, non-judgmental, undifferentiated love of the source by us trying to be less judgmental and more loving and more kind and caring, more tolerant, respect for other people's beliefs. So, if talking about gratitude, well, I certainly have an immense amount of gratitude for the fact that I don't have to have the fact that, apart from talking about it to different people, hell, heaven, punishment, all these things, they don't even come into my life. They don't cross my mind. There's no need for it, because they're non-events as far as I am personally concerned. Death, the Cathar looks forward to death, because death is the portal. It's time to move over into the world of spirit once again, be reunited with our true family and friends. Usually, of course, often our family and friends are also on this side, or on this existence, or whatever terrestrial existence you happen to be in, or planet, or universe. you return to your family, and that's not an eternal family, because as you gain certain levels you can move on from that family, but basically that is our family, and they can also move on with you to other levels and planes. But I rejoice, I am delighted in the fact that I can live out more or less a guilt-free life, to the Cathar. All the natural functions of the body are natural functions of the body. They're there to make use of. So if you enjoy a good wine, enjoy the good wine. You enjoy sex, enjoy sex. You enjoy a gamble, enjoy a gamble. The whole point is those feelings, and everybody is different. Some have stronger libido, some have less libido. Some enjoy gambling, others it's the most boring thing you could possibly have. Some enjoy a good glass of red or white or whatever. Others never touch alcohol. But that's entirely up to yourself. Life is to be fulfilled and enjoyed, and to become the best that you are. And so there's no guilt attached to, there's laws of the land, and we have a morality, and you don't go around people who are married and engaged and so forth and so on. There's plenty out there for everybody without having to transgress the moralities of the land that you live in. But we're not caught up in religious, and some of the religious rules, which are sometimes what do we say, vestiges of times past. I mean, it was a quiz, and it said in the West, it was around, what's the maritable age for a young person to be married in the Vatican? And surprise, surprise, the answer was 12 years old. Now, it's a surprise to us, because I think we have most places in the West, we have to be 18 or so before we can be married unless there's special permission. But the thing was, everybody got married at 12 and 13 and 14, from princesses and queens and right down to the local people. And that was the marriageable age, but that was times past. And of course, in the Vatican, I presume that they just haven't gone around to update the laws. There's other religions where to masturbate, you can have your head chopped off. So some of these religious rules are very, even frightening. But this type of stuff, this rules that are made, whether religious or man-made, and often to control women more than men, and the segregation of the sexes, and the fact that one is second class. I mean, this is a subjugation, this put down. With Catharism, there's total equality. Biological, political, philosophic. We have biological differences, but that's it. And we're there to enjoy those biological differences as well, and fulfill our lives. So this guilt trip that religion tends to put upon people, and I talk to friends of mine, and I don't say too much, because when you're caught up in religion, I find in so many cases, religion gives you the excuse to swap your head for a pumpkin. You don't have to think, because someone is telling you what to think. Another aspect of Gnostic Catharism is the fact, one of the major essences of it is that you alone are responsible for your spiritual and mystical growth and well-being. You cannot lay it on somebody else. You know what is best for you, how you live out your life, and how you carry on with this. You don't have anyone telling you what to do. You can listen. You have to make the choice, and you make it up. And we believe that you know what is best for you. So our spirituality is our own personal responsibility. So if we take these essences, these basics, which are unique to Gnosticism and certainly to Gnostic Catharism, this undifferentiated, unconditional love for everybody and everything everywhere. This is the environment. This is everything that exists. We respect all. And there is no judgment. There's no hell. There's no heaven. So, and you have total responsibility for self. This makes Gnostic Catharism unique amongst the philosophic and theological beliefs in the world today. Certainly as regards any of the major belief systems. And for that, I am eternally grateful. And within that gratitude, that gives me, certainly, well, if nothing else, it gives me peace of mind and tranquility of soul. And that's more than enough for me. Thank you, and I will talk again. Bye for now.